Rumors claim that the Galaxy Note 4 might include a smart camera button. New leaks of the iPhone 6 talk about storage options and may disappoint. And Motorola seems ready to flood your stores with smartphones and tablets. I'm Jaime Rivera, and raise your hands how many of you actually ended up getting a stick yesterday. This is Pocketnow Daily. Let's begin today with what's official and sort of underwhelming. Any of you remember the Barnes & Noble Nook? The design was cool, but it ended up dying, and so did its successors. And as it turns out, the company ended up partnering with Samsung in order to bring us the Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 Nook, which is actually a Samsung Galaxy Tab 4 7.0 only focused on the Nook, and you get the options for the books and a couple of things here and there. The price tag is actually not that bad. Links in the description for full details, and watch Michael Fisher's full coverage of this, even though it is an old tablet. In other interesting news today, there was a recent comparison between the HTC One M8 for Windows and the HTC One M8 for Android. And my God, battery comparisons are amazing. If you think that Windows Phone needs a lot of horsepower, you're wrong. I mean, the battery life on the One M8 for Windows lasts 21 hours of active use compared to 12 hours on the Android variant. And trust me, I use the One M8 for Android, and I know that battery could be better, but man, it is incredible to get 21 hours. That's how power efficient Windows Phone is, and it's great to see. And we're talking about the same battery, same hardware, same everything. Now let's talk about Motorola, and we're talking about Lenovo's Motorola. You know, that company that builds a lot of smartphones in China, but we rarely see in the United States, except for computers. Turns out that the company's strategy might be to flood us with smartphones and tablets. Rumors have it that the company is working with as many as 3 different tablets and 8 different smartphone variants for Motorola to launch sometime within the end of the year and early next year. We don't have any specific details, but there are some names, but the list is so big that it's obviously hard to memorize. So link to the description, read the full articles from Steven with all the details. Up next, we've got some interesting rumors of the Galaxy Note 4. Aside from the fact that the company is working on this new metal chassis that will apparently look a lot like what we see on the Galaxy Alpha, it seems that this metallic chassis will have something very interesting on its side. It's not really a camera button. There's this really interesting side touch functionality where there's apparently either a capacitive button or a sensor or something that will allow the phone to detect that you want to take a photo, and it'll work as a shutter button. It's hard to understand how this will work, obviously, until we get the phone, but it's great to see that we'll finally get something from the Galaxy lineup that's something we've not seen anywhere else. This is actually a very cool idea. Let's see how it works. Obviously, we will be covering everything at IFA 2014 where this phone will be launched. And finally, for the very interesting news of the day, let's talk about the iPhone 6 and 2 different rumors. Number 1, the iPhone 6 in its 5.5-inch variant. We've got the rear shell in a leaked photo, and the reason why this is interesting is because the only rear shells that we've seen are of the 4.7-inch model, so it's great that we finally see that, yeah, they are identical. But even more interesting, there are some leaks from GeekBar that mention the storage options, and it's actually conflicting as we've got a 16 gig variant, which is extremely disappointing, and then there are no 32 gig variants mentioned. Apparently it jumps to 64 gigs and 128 gigs, and even though we don't have any pricing, we know there are some manufacturers being mentioned, SanDisk, Toshiba, other manufacturers for this. But that leads me to the question of the day. What is the minimum amount of storage that you can survive with if you would not have expandable storage on your phone? Because in my case, my God, I don't know how people do it with 8 or 16 gigs. I can't do it. Even 64 gigs becomes a challenge for me, but leave us a comment down below, and don't forget the first link in the description with our black phone giveaway, which is still active. Friends, yes, you know the drill. If you want to get the news earlier before this video is filmed, make sure you follow us on Pocketnow.com and subscribe to our YouTube channel as well. You can also follow me on Twitter, Jaime_Rivera. Please give this video a thumbs up if you like what you saw. I am Jaime Rivera. Thank you very much for watching. We'll see you tomorrow.